Like that. Yeah. Okay. So I come here like this. It's going to spiral like this. Boom, like that. We have a hit here, and maybe a hit here, but a little bit further. If I want to resist you, go ahead. Because throughout the motion, the angle of your arm and mine keeps changing. I would have to constantly recalibrate how I root and brace against you, and it's hard, right? The other big move over there is a hidden fist, a hidden elbow punch, hidden hand punch. So if you don't line it up correctly and well, it's gonna go through your force, and your own attempt to deflect me gets reflected back upon you, making you bounce off. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it naturally stretches his fascia like that. So we get that connection right there. So as that happens, and it continues, I now feel it into his fascia, and then it starts to move through his body like that. So it's blocking me down like that. But as this true spiral, see the connection into his arm, into his fascia, causes his balance to fall under my influence. So when you have that, see, then you do the whole motion. See, then hidden fist punch. This is naturally yin feeling like this. This is naturally yang feeling like that. Right? So this is natural yin, right? And this is natural yang, like that. I might split. One hand going one way, other hand going another way. So I don't mean that I'm doing like a forceful elbow break type of thing like that. You could, but because they like the silk reeling fascia, I'm gonna roll this hand along the surface this way, and this hand along the surface that way. So it's very interesting. You can essentially do diagonal flying. Just if you catch your wrist, see, like this. Like that. So one example is you're pushing into me like this, right? Right, and I silk reel spiral him like this. So his arm is twisted like this, and now I have a line. My cow is literally just, meaning that the Neijin forms a force that goes forward and bounces you back. You push me, see, like that. Okay, ready? Go. You win. So I'm gonna do my G again. Go again. You win again. 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 Okay. So silk reeling, like that. So I face him from the start, and I'm still facing him at the finish. So in this split second of contact, you lose your balance, you lose your orientation, and then you lose your life. All right, we're going to do your favorite topic, which is how the Chen Tai Chi's internal power works. So it's going to be all about silk reeling power. We're going to look at how that is different from Yang Tai Chi's use of silk reeling and Neijin. What are the pros and cons? Paper, rock, scissors, what beats what? It's actually a really interesting discussion. Are you ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Chen Tai Chi, everything I do is wrapped up around silk reeling. Silk reeling is the force, the shape, and the nature of the internal power. And it comes from the idea of silk cocoons when the Chinese people extracted silk back in the day. So the silkworm makes a cocoon, it's like this oval egg-looking thing. And then they put it on like a stick, and then they grab the silk thread, and the whole thing spins to pull the thread off the cocoon as it spins around and around and around. You gotta pull it smoothly and spin it, otherwise it'll rip off. And then you'll lose your nice long strands of the silk. So the important takeaway to this is that it's spinning and it's on the surface. So does that make sense?
Yes.
You don't want to smash the cocoon, you want to spin the cocoon.
Yes,
so Chen Tai Chi power, okay, go ahead and demonstrate it. Do your exercise, you're doing pretty well. Yeah. Okay, good. So this part's pretty good. And when you go out, you can have a little more rotational expansion. So watch me, like this. Like that. Yeah, okay. So it's very interesting in usage because everything spirals. So throughout the movement, there's a lot of different kinds of directions that it happens and a lot of forces. So you punch me, so I come here like this, it's going to spiral like this, boom, like that. We have a hit here, and maybe a hit here, but a little bit further. He fell in towards me so that he was in the range for the elbow. Punch again. If he was further, then we have this strike here, or maybe this strike here, like that. Punch with this hand. If we are really close, then we might have the body and knock him off balance in this kind of way. This is all variations of what's called lazily tying your cloth. Lazily tying your cloth. Do you know how that name comes about?
Is that like a waistcloth?
Waistcloth, kind of, not really. So if you watch those Ip Man movies, okay, those, you know how you wear that Chinese clothes where there's a long fabric up the front and behind. You know what I mean? Like the mine ends up right here, but his goes down to here, like that, right?
Yes, sir.
So if we get in a fight, right, I don't want to like step on my clothing like that. So he pulls it aside,
and then strikes. Okay, that
strikes
makes
like
sense.
that. So you're leisurely saying, "Oh, you don't intimidate me. I'm ready to fight you." That's the vibe of that technique, like that. So that's what it comes from. It kind of doesn't make sense unless you understood Chinese ancient clothing or semi-ancient clothing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyways, what is really cool about Chen Tai Chi is that it generates force in all these different angles. So you can do it like this. So if I'm here like this, and you go ahead and complete that movement, like that. If I want to resist you, you do that really well. If I want to resist you, go ahead. Because throughout the motion, the angle of your arm and mine keeps changing. I would have to constantly recalibrate how I root and brace against you. And it's hard, right? If you do it smooth and quick, it's really hard for me to align that. And eventually, I'll be misaligned and the force will fire through me. It's kind of like if there was a spinning drill coming towards you, right? And you touch the side of the drill, you'll bounce off because the drill is going to keep wedging you aside. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it has that spiraling nature, which deal with that. The other big move over there is a hidden fist, hidden elbow punch, hidden hand punch. So that's spiraling in the opposite direction, and so that is also like a drill. So if we're here like this, and I punch you, and you block me.
Block you like this?
Yeah, your goal is to do something like that, right? Right? Come again. So you would have to constantly adjust your force vector with mine to line up with mine to get me to go across. So if you don't line up correctly and well, it's gonna drill through your force, and your own attempt to deflect me gets reflected back upon you, making you bounce off. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it becomes difficult to stop their forces because of the spiraling nature of their technique. So that's to say, their techniques in Chen Tai Chi are hard to block, hard to receive, which is a very advantageous thing, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's advantage number one, the geometry of silk reeling. So in our program, we talk about there's Fascia mastery, Song, Qi, Neijin, and Yi, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you learn each one, and you learn to use each one. The other really cool thing about Chen Tai Chi is that by the very nature of pulling thread at the surface, it automatically has fascia control. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So block me for a second.
Okay.
So we're doing the lazy tying class like this, right? So because if I just push into you linearly, so I will get stuck with your force. But because they spiral like that, the spiraling naturally bites into your fascia.
Okay.
And so you'll naturally get that kind of fascia shift on them. So let's trace eyes for a second.
Okay.
So
Yes,
see, from this contact, when the spiraling happens, it naturally stretches his fascia like that. So we get that connection right there. So as that happens, and it continues, I now feel it into his fascia, and then it starts to move through his body like that. So when you do proper Chen family silk reeling, you have automatic fascia influence. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So whether you're doing lazily tying cloth or they're diagonal flying or any number of techniques, all these things are constantly touching your fascia. You block my hand, like
like this.
no, like you're like blocking my punch down, like this, like this.
Okay.
So it's blocking me down like that. But as this true spiral, see the connection into his arm, into his fascia, causes his balance to fall under my influence. So he has automatic fascia connection. Song, well, all Tai Chi has song. All Tai Chi has to have song, otherwise you're not really doing Tai Chi very well at all. So they have their song right there. The next really cool thing is that it has automatic Qi mastery.
Okay.
You may not have even realized that, but our basic exercise, you're doing yin to yang in your silk reeling, right? So you're building in the yin and yang into the movement.
Okay.
So in Chen family, they say that silk reeling has two directions: Sun Chan, forward wrapping, and Ni Chan, backwards or reverse wrapping, forward and backwards.
Okay.
And so that's the two direction it goes. It's not to say that one is yin and one is yang, actually, but it's that the rotation of their arms and body naturally has a yin and yang. Just like our yin and yang superconductor qigong, like this. There's naturally yin and yang with these motions. So their motion naturally has all these qualities. So if you push upon my hand like this, so here when we rotate like this, just the act of connecting the dantian and then beginning the circling rotation in of itself is like kind of uprooting. You feel that?
Yes, sir.
So see, watch his feet. So here like this, so like that. He's not going nowhere. Like you connect and you rotate. See, just that rotation naturally induces a bit of yangness into his body. So he pushes onto me. So when you have that, see, then you do the whole motion, then you get the bigger result. Okay, and if we do the other technique, so like this, like their G. So here, he's just this rotation will create a disturbance to his root. So all the rotation naturally causes a yang expansion or yin shrinking or a yang expansion. So let me back up. I said there's Sun Can and there's Ni Can, right?
Yes, sir.
I said they're not yang or yin because on different parts of the circle, there's naturally more yang and more yin. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, yes, sir.
There's more yin and more yang. So, but it's built into it so that their techniques, when you apply it, will naturally have fascia control and if it's going outwards, a yang. If it's coming inwards, a yin. So if you go like this for me, right, and I'm pushing to you like this, right? So see, hidden fist punch. This is naturally yin feeling like this. This is naturally yang feeling like that. So yin and naturally yang. If you punch me, right? So this is naturally yin, right? And this is naturally yang, like that. No, we didn't actually make contact. So yin. So just naturally yin. Naturally yang, like that. I'll do it safer. So you punch me. So we have naturally yin, and we're here like this. Naturally yang, like that.
I see.
So I just pushed you sideways with that. Does that make sense so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So they don't think of yin and yang in quite the same way as the Yang family later did, but they have a very natural and powerful type of yin and yang that is built in to their technique. So you punch me, right? So here we have yin here. We have yin, we have fascia. We have fascia like this. These two things are fasciating him already. And we have yang, like that. And then off you go like that, right?
Yes,
so come again. So yin, like this, right? Yang, and then and then off they go, so to speak. So that was a yin wrapping. And then my hand's on your shoulder from behind. Here, let me just, so we have the yin wrapping, the yang on the shoulder. This is going outwards relative to me with a yang feeling while guiding this fascia. So he'll get flung back, probably with my leg blocking him, so he'll fall. So all that is totally integrated together. So it's very elegant in just doing the form with the right intention and energy will give you all of those qualities harmonized and integrated and impactful.
Yes, sir.
So that's pretty useful, right?
Yes, sir.
So one question asked to us recently was, are the 8 energies, Peng, Li, Ji, An, Cai, Lie, Zhou, Kao, word off, roll back, press, push, and all that, the same or different in Yang and Chen Tai Chi? The answer is yes. They are both the same and they are both different in some ways. Okay, so Peng in Yang Tai Chi is the upward flow of Neijin around us. Okay, what is the same is generally the directionality. So Peng in Chen Tai Chi is an outwards rotation that has an upwards energy, upwards like that. Boom. Okay. An is a downward sinking energy in Yang style. In Chen style, the An is downward and expansively outward. So it's shown in this. And G is forward in both cases. Roll back is towards you in both cases. In Yang family, the Neijin flows towards you and around you and behind you. In Chen family, it is to guide their force near you and past you, like that. the other ones now differ a little bit.
Mm.
Okay, so those are the ones that are pretty similar.
Mhm.
Plucking
Mm.
in Yang style, in the Wang Yongchen lineage, 06 row lineage, is that it's a downward, outward rotation. Downward rotation like this. And in Chen style, it is in to sink and drop them after you elongate them. So it's a follow-up to a rollback.
Mhm.
Rollback, and then you pluck, Tai, to
Tai.
drop them down.
Mm.
Lia in the 06 row is an upward and outward rotation, like diagonal flying, wild horse parts main. In Chen, it is a splitting of the direction of the forces after you roll them back and you split their arm in two directions. We're going to demonstrate these one by one. And then Zhou and Kao is totally different. Okay. The way it's used in Chen Tai Chi is generally more strategic in consideration rather than energetic in consideration.
Mm.
So what I mean by that is we're here like this.
Mhm.
And if you do a pung towards me, you push towards me like this,
Mhm.
then that's when you use rollback in Chen style to guide them a little bit past you like that. Okay, so you do that to me. So I pung and you roll me back this way.
Oh, like that?
So he's rolled me back this way like that.
Mhm.
So when I get sucked in towards him,
Mhm.
you use G, the forwardness, to crowd upon him like that. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So now you do that. So I guide you here.
Mhm.
We roll back, and now you do G to come in.
Mhm.
To counter the G,
Mhm.
right? It's a downward press, downward and outward
Oh,
press
okay.
of the an.
Mm.
So see on here, and you G in.
Mhm.
So this will make you not fall over. So I sink that down and
Mhm.
rotate that towards you like that. So
Mm.
that stops that.
Mhm.
So you're going to start falling down and back or
Yeah.
like this,
Mhm.
unless you apply upward ward off back to me.
Upward word off back to you.
Yeah, like that.
Okay.
Okay, so you counter the an
Uh-huh.
with your pung.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start over. You pung.
Pung.
Yeah, and then roll back.
Roll back.
Oh, sorry, back. And you do G,
G.
Yeah.
Okay. G.
and then I go down
Here,
like
uh-huh.
that.
And then I do. Oh. Oh. Okay.
So this is
Mm.
to kind of illustrate some of the pattern. If
Mhm.
I get successful rollback and you haven't done G,
Mhm.
right? We might pluck to make you go
Oh.
down,
Okay.
or I roll you back like this.
Uh-huh.
I might split.
Wow.
One hand going one way,
Mhm.
other hand going another way.
Mhm.
So I don't mean that I'm doing like kind of like a forceful elbow break
Mhm.
type of thing like that. You could, but because they like the silk reeling fascia,
Mhm.
I'm gonna roll this hand along the surface this way, and this hand along the surface that way. One interesting thing is if you push into me right here,
Pushing
okay,
like this.
yeah, towards me. So
Okay.
so
Mhm.
so I don't have I'm not across his shoulder, his elbow, right? But I could still twist him like this.
Yeah.
So what did that feel like?
I felt terrible.
Felt terrible. So I am rolling this fascia
Mhm.
this way, while this hand is rolling his fascia that way.
Mhm.
So see, like this.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. You can essentially do diagonal flying.
Mhm.
Just if you catch your wrist,
Mhm.
see, like this,
Yep.
like that.
Mhm.
Terrible, right?
Yeah. That was.
Yeah. So you can have a lot of control over their body, even though you're not crossing the crucial joint like you normally think you would have to do, because the silk reeling force spirals through his body all the way into his core, like that. And same for other kind of techniques like that too.
Yep.
So that is where they're able to silk reel and distort the other person's posture. So if we're doing push hands like this, right? See, technically you can distort their posture just from this contact like this, like that.
Mhm.
And that gets us to some of the other discussion. So Zhou and Kao, in the 06 row, Zhou is how you flow the Neijin to a point, concentrating it.
Okay.
And Kao is how you disperse the Neijin around you.
Okay.
In Chen Tai Chi, it's more literal. Zhou is impacting with the elbow,
Uh-huh.
and Kao is impacting with the shoulder.
I see.
So one example is you're pushing to me like this, right?
Pushing into.
Right, and I silk reel spiral him like this. So his arms twisted like this, and now I have a line. My Kao is literally just, hit your ribs. Are you okay?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm all right.
Yeah, so he pushes like this. We roll back, we do splitting, we do cow like that. After we cow him, then you can split him some more.
That makes sense.
Chen Tai Chi is like a blender, like an egg beater. You're just like woo, spin cycle. It's very interesting.
Okay.
Vice versa, if you split it up this way like this, you can zhou, boom, like that. So once you split them this way, boom, like that. Once you plug them in this way, you can cow and you could zhou from this like that. Or let's do this like a C.
Okay.
So you're pushing in like this,
Pushing
right?
in this way.
I roll you back this way, right? And I onto here. Sorry, I to here. Then from here, my zhou can fire a force into you to bounce you away. That's relatively unharmful,
Sure.
right? And then you can yeah, you can split them after that.
I see.
So Zhou is literally the force being applied from the elbow, and Kao is literally the force applied from your shoulder or your body.
I see.
They cover the chest and the hips as well too. So you can
Okay.
hip bump, chest bump in different kinds of way.
Okay.
So that's what the 8 Neijins looks like in Chen style. So let's run through them one by one.
Okay.
So
So
you push me?
I'll push it.
Yeah. So their peng is an upward outward rotation. Okay. Their ji is a downward forward rotation, and the an is a downward and outward rotation. Especially useful for when they tackle in, people getting in,
Yeah.
like that kind of feeling. And then come again. Roll back is stretching past the body. Pluck is down once you're past the body. Come again. Split is a changing of two directions. Two directions on the arm. Could be the body, like we could be here, right? So this is one direction of splitting, and this is across your body. Two direction, like that, and then break. So and then Zhou and Kao. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
So that's how the 8 energies of the two families compare. Whereas the young ones are more focused on the flow of energy rather than the direction of the physical motion.
I see.
There are some very interesting implications about this in push hands. So let me show you something really interesting. So silk reeling in the Chen family harmonizes fascia, song, and chi mastery automatically, and with constantly changing angles. So this is the Yang style G. You push me?
Push you?
Yeah, you're pushing into me, right? Let's go like this. You're pushing this way.
Okay.
And then the G reflects your force back.
Okay.
Meaning that the Neijin forms a force that goes forward and bounces you back. You push me, see? Like that. And so that's pretty effective when you push me like that. Try your Chen Tai Chi force. Yeah, that one. Okay, ready? Go. You win. So I'm going to do my G again. Go again. You win again. So because his two things, his constantly changing angle is challenging for me to align my intention with. Secondly, as soon as I'm touching him and he starts the motion, he's already got his yin right there and already got his yang right there. So his chi mastery, his chi is influenced me from the very beginning of this whole process. So I'm basically playing catch up. By the time I think about sending my awareness out and directing my awareness of my Neijin forward, go ahead. He's already influencing me and going back. I think that is a very advantageous element of Chen Style Tai Chi. Now, in the 06 Rose lineage of Yang Style Tai Chi, they have a lot of other techniques that they discuss in their training of Neijin. So here's one of them. Okay, go ahead and do it again.
Okay.
So you see he's successful even though I'm trying to G him back, right? Go ahead. I'm trying. Okay, come again. 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 What do you experience?
It seems like there's some other force that's moving me compared to the
Some
one
other
that I'm
force.
countering.
Compared to the one you're countering, yes. I have 2 hands on him. I'm doing 2 different Neijins with my each hand. So at first I was doing a peng, an upward Neijin on this side, and G, a forward Neijin on this side. So you go and do it. So I have these 2. And so essentially you get stuck, right? Later I did it backwards. I did G on this one, and G on this one, and peng on this one, like this. It's a little bit different result, but the timing's a little different. But you could mix any 2 Neijin. I'll do like an here and split here, something like that. So by applying 2 different Neijin, it jams the silk reeling. If I have just one direction Neijin towards him, and he does the silk reeling, it gets sucked into the spiral and gets spit out like a big ocean wave, right? Whatever the Neijin I use this, go ahead. I'm trying to go ahead, do it.
Okay.
See whatever I'm trying to split that time, I still get spit out. But if I do a split and a plug or something like that, go ahead, see? So if I have two, his single spiral cannot automatically catch my Neijin and resolve that into your whirlpool of doom. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So by applying two Neijins, you can jump up the cycle. You only have the two hands. So see, if I have one hand, you would think he would be successful. Okay.
Oh.
So that one I did like G peng or peng G or G and pluck. So basically my shoulder had one Neijin and my hand had another Neijin. By doing two different Neijin from the one side, it still causes a resulting effect that your silk reeling has a hard time to deal with.
I see.
So historically, Yang family became popular at the capital. And then the Chen village heard about this, and the Chen Fascia, great master, came to Beijing to find out what's going on in the capital. And when he showed up and he showed his skill, he showed his Chen Tai Chi, people were so amazed at his Kung Fu. And actually, he made a huge impact in the capital. And I suspect after meeting and experiencing his skill, the Yang family practitioners were also shocked at how deep his skill was and how difficult some of this silk reeling is to deal with with the Yang Style Tai Chi. So when you meet a challenge and you're a martial artist, then you're going to find out how to improve upon that, how to respond to that. So I think they developed some additional technologies, like having two different Neijin at the same time, different Neijin at different joints and stuff like that, to overcome the inherent advantage and effectiveness of silk reeling, combining fascia, song, and qi, yin and yang, all in one, like that. So does that mean that Yang style is better than Chen style?
No, right?
Not necessarily. So because they said that Chen Fascia went to the capital and he came back and told the village they have some pretty cool stuff out there, and then he set out and he created what's called the Xinjia, the new frame. Before that, they practiced what's called the old frame, and then they created a new frame. And that's the one that you typically see in Chen Tai Chi perform with, the new frame. And I'm not an expert on the new frame. I practice a old frame, older than the old frame, called the Dajia, the big frame. The big frame. So it's most likely the new frame incorporates new ideas or new counters to the things they experience. So this is arm race. So the Yang style dealt with the old Chen style in a certain way, and the Chen style is going to deal with the Yang style in certain ways, and they keep pushing each other up to become better and better and better. And so I don't know what kind of bags of tricks are hidden in the Xinjia. I do know that watching like the masters perform, their power is really remarkable, right? And watching like Feng Ziqiang, who developed Hunyuan Tai Chi from the Xinjia, his Tai Chi is really beautiful. I feel like that is I think that incorporates like more elements of the extracorporeal Neijin, extracorporeal Qi, into the Chen style Tai Chi practice that is originally more centered on the first three masteries. So it's really interesting how those things affected each other. Now, about silk reeling. Silk reeling is a very, very Chinese martial art thing. Like I said, I'm not saying that no one else spirals, but Chinese people were obsessed with spiraling in their martial arts. And that's because the Chinese martial arts evolved from the battlefield, and specifically the battlefield weapon of choice in China is a spear. And silk reeling makes your spear completely amazing. So hang on 1 second. I didn't bring long spears, so we just have these shorter posts, but let's go like this. So if you thrust towards me, right, you can block things aside. Okay, this would be a parry, and then stab back. Silk reeling is fun. So from here, I'm gonna get away so I don't hit your fingers. Okay, so silk reeling, like that. So you thrust over, like that. And it's a very small motion. Like I'm not pushing aside like this and losing my alignment and balance. I face him from the start, and I'm still facing him at the finish. So my motion is just this little motion. So you thrust, that, like that. So, and then if we're on the outside, like that, just like that, and we're in right away. So this is the silk reeling power. If you swing down like a sword, so that's coming like this. So swing down again, like that. So that goes way out there, but my tip is pointed at the opponent. So this is the silk whirling applied to the spear. And the reason it has that power has to do with conservation of angular momentum. How do you like high school physics? No one here said hooray. Okay, so when you know a ballerina when they spin, or like an ice skater, as the arc, as the size of the circle shrinks, they speed up, right? So from the body to the spear is a big radius down to a small radius. Does that make sense? So as the spinning of my body is passed through the spear, it gets a lot more velocity. As the mass of my body transfers to the here, because of conservation of momentum, mass velocity, as my mass, which is big, goes to this small mass, the velocity goes up. So when you properly connect your body to the spear and to conserve the angular momentum, to transfer it from your body to the spear, you end up with a really high velocity movement on the spear without a big windup, and with a very high impulse, meaning it happens in a very small amount of time. Having a small impulse means that a lot of force transfers. So you come like this. So in this split second of contact, you lose your balance, you lose your orientation, and then you lose your life. And so that is the basic premise of Chinese spear work, that kind of power. And of course, when you thrust, you also have silk whirling, making it hard for them to deflect it. Just like you couldn't deflect my punch very easily, we won't do that with a spear because we'll probably poke each other too hard. So that is the basis. And then early Chen Tai Chi had its roots. It was developed by people that were generals in the Chinese military. So they have a lot of this kind of experience, this kind of skill that they brought into the martial art. So then if you think about the techniques of Chen Tai Chi, it makes sense that it has a kind of silk whirling. It also has influence of Guan Dao, the halberd, the long pole with the blade at the end. We'll discuss a link to that in another time. But that's how you get these elements of these spiral, these twisting the fascia. So silk whirling is so cool and has automatic fascia control. Then why didn't the Yang style Tai Chi continue to emphasize it?
I don't know.
So they did in the very beginning for sure, because the earliest form of push hands in Yang style Tai Chi was called zoso, which means twisting hands or rubbing hands. So in that time, there was a lot of emphasis on how you would rub and twist each other's hand to find a connection with each other, to make them go. So the early push hand, instead of being these big soft thing, was small rubbing, twisting, ringing action to find a connection to move the other person. So that kind of push hand is very fascia based, very silk whirling based. Where we find that you're the cocoon and spinning the thread of your cocoon to find a connection through you to move you. So early Yang style Tai Chi made a big emphasis of that. It seems like later on they became interested in other elements of internal power, like the extracorporeal qi worked on in the 06 roads in the Neijin skill, and how Yi influences of this. So their interest shifted. So different martial artists, your exact interest and my exact interest differs. You love some of this stuff, and I love some of the other stuff. So it just so happens that people have different directions they want to research with greater depth. But each style has their really interesting things, and I think it's very interesting to understand the roots from which Yang Tai Chi developed, which is this silk whirling power, the spiraling, the yin and yang, and the song and all of that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Do you have any questions?
No questions
about this? All right. Anyone else have any questions? Okay. Well, thank you for helping me illustrate this about Chen style Tai Chi and Yang style Tai Chi and how their arms race affected each other. And I think that's what's cool when we understand different martial arts, when we compare, we test each other, then we can grow together, and then we can all rise to a higher level of martial arts. So that's what I hope for everybody. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your practice. See you next time.